They did not see it coming. No missiles, no jets, no warning, just a soft buzzing sound. And then silence shattered by flame.
Ukraine claims to have hit more than 40 Russian bombers.
On June 1st, 2025, deep inside Russia, thousands of kilometers from any front line, the heart of its nuclear bomber fleet was under attack. Not by a stealth bomber, not by cyber weapons, but instead it was trucks with wooden cabins bringing deadly drones. This is the story of OperationSpiderweb, a covert Ukrainian strike that rewrote the rules of modern warfare. Massive clouds of smoke began rising from the runways of some of Russia's most well-guarded strategic bomber bases. In just minutes, dozens of long-range bombers, the backbone of Russia's aerial strength, were burning. Tu-95S, Tu-160S, even the rare A-50 radar aircraft. Russia's strategic deterrence force was under direct attack. And the most unbelievable part? These strikes didn't come from missiles or jet fighters. They came from something far smaller, drones. Tiny, cheap, and deadly, these were first-person view FPV kamikaze drones launched not from Ukrainian soil but from deep within Russian territory. Before we dive deeper into this story, let's be real. This kind of attack has completely changed the way wars are fought. Yes, it's still a proxy war, but not in the old way where soldiers crossed borders, killed civilians, or destroyed infrastructure directly, like what India is keep doing in Balochistan, Pakistan. Now, the game has changed. The battlefield is shifting. No more boots on the ground, no more human risk. Instead, drones are sent across borders, silent, remote, controlled weapons that strike from a distance. We are entering a new era, a modern form of proxy warfare, drone warfare. Let's understand how Ukraine managed to pull off one of the most daring operations in modern warfare, OperationSpiderweb. The planning did not start a few weeks before. It began nearly 18 months earlier.
Готували операцію більш ніж 1,5 роки. Планування, організація, всі деталі були ідеально підготовлені.
Ukraine Security Service, the SBU, had been quietly working on something bold, an idea so daring it did not even sound real at first. They wanted to strike at the heart of Russia's long-range bomber fleet. These were the same aircraft responsible for launching cruise missiles at Ukrainian cities, energy stations, and civilian infrastructure for over 2 years. But those bombers were parked deep inside Russian territory. Thousands of kilometers from the front line, conventional weapons couldn't reach them, satellites were not just a realistic option, and sending jets that far into Russian airspace, that would be suicide. So the SBU came up with something different. They couldn't launch the attack from Ukraine, they would launch it from inside Russia. And the plan? Build mobile drone bases inside ordinary civilian trucks, vehicles so normal they would pass through Russian roads and checkpoints without raising an eyebrow. Each truck would be carefully modified from the outside. It looked like a simple cargo transporter. But inside, hidden inside containers, were launch systems built to carry deadly drones. Once inside Russia, these trucks would move quietly across roads and highways, blending it with the flow of civilians and military transport. They would park near key Russian airfields, pretending to be just another delivery truck waiting in line. But when the order came, everything would change. The trucks would open up like trapdoors, and inside were racks of explosive drones ready to launch at a moment's notice. This operation took extraordinary planning. Each drone was equipped with a small camera and piloted remotely by operators wearing VR goggles. Some were even guided by autonomous AI systems. Each one was small enough to fit a backpack. Each cost less than $5,000. But packed with explosives and programmed for precision, they could take out multi-million-dollar aircraft in seconds. For more than a year, Ukrainian engineers, hackers, drone pilots, and intelligence officers worked together in secret. They tested flight encrypted control signals so Russia couldn't jam or detect them. They carefully mapped safe routes into Russia. Even the radio frequencies had to be masked to avoid Russian electronic warfare units. It was spycraft, it was engineering, it was military brilliance. By late May 2025, the trucks were in position. They had crossed borders, driven through Russian highways, and parked around 5 critical air bases: Belaya, Dyagilevo, Olenya, Ukrainka, and Ivanovo. These were not just any bases. These airfields held the very bombers Russians used to terrorize Ukraine. The Tu-95S and Tu-160S, massive planes that carried long-range cruise missiles, sometimes even nuclear warheads. They were always a threat. But on that night, they were sitting ducks. On June 1st, 2025, at exactly 3 a.m. Moscow time, the command was given. The trucks opened, 117 drones powered up, the tiny rotors spinning in the darkness. Then in perfect waves, they launched silently into the night sky from 4 different regions inside Russia. They flew low, fast, hard to detect. The first wave headed straight for the Tu-95 bombers at Dyagilevo. Drones slammed into their engines and fuel tanks. Explosions ripped through the night. At Olenya, drones struck control towers and command posts. At Ukrainka and Belaya, jets went up in flames. At Ivanovo, a rare A-50 early warning aircraft was hit. One of only a few Russians' entire fleet. Russian airbase crews were caught off guard. Most of them did not even have time to react. Alarms went off too late. Anti-air systems struggled to lock onto such small, fast targets. It was chaos. By the time the sun rose, the destruction was clear. At least 41 aircraft had been hit. Over 20 were completely destroyed. The rest were badly damaged. Some with missing wings, others with burned out engines and shattered fuselages. A third of Russia's strategic bomber fleet had been wiped out in one night. The financial damage? Over $7 billion. The psychological damage? Even worse. But this wasn't just about destruction, it was about how it was done. This operation turned everything upside down. Ukraine did not use jets, did not use missiles, did not even fire from its own land. They used trucks, they used drones, they used brains over brute force. It was warfare on a budget. But with the impact of precision missile strike, it was a warfare on a budget, but with the impact of a precision missile strike. Global military analysts were stunned. Western intelligence agencies confirmed the hit. NATO strategists began rewriting their own defense protocols. European and Asian military leaders scrambled to reassess how secure their airfields really were. Because if it could happen to Russia, a superpower with nuclear weapons and vast air defenses, then no one was safe. The message from Ukraine was loud and clear. We can reach you, we will reach you, no matter how deep you hide. This was a turning point, not just for the war in Ukraine, but for modern military doctrine. It proved that you don't need billions of dollars to win battles. You need creativity, intelligence, and timing. It showed that how new age of warfare isn't about soldiers storming borders anymore. It's not about tanks rolling in or warships at sea. It's about proxy drones, remote warfare, silent, deadly strike from machines that can slip past radar, fly through fences, and land on billion-dollar assets like a Wasp on a windshield. And the impact, devastating.